U.S. Politics, Part 1. Let's get started. Part 1. The History. Woo. Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode on this channel. Now, I know that usually there would be these videos will be just all about on Darkshot, and I will only have brief appearances in the camera mode, but today it's a special, so let's switch seats. In today's Darkshot special, we will be talking about U.S. politics, and U.S. politics is today we'll be talking about it in a nutshell. There are going to be three videos. This for now is video 1. And so let me tell you about what we're going to cover in this video before we actually get into the real Darkshot. Firstly, we will be covering briefly about the American Revolution. Now, if you really do want to get into and talk more about the American Revolution, then I guess you could watch my American Revolution video, but that's gonna be at least a year old. So yeah, it's kind of outdated, but sure enough, I'm pretty sure you can still use it for a lot of reasons. But other than that, let's just go on what we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about the Declaration of Independence, or as I call it, DOC. D-O-C, get it, DOC? Yeah, you don't. And the U.S. Constitution. Then we'll be droning on about the Civil War, and then finally there is a lot else that we can literally talk about here. But I'm just gonna end it there, and I'm just gonna briefly, like 5 seconds or so, just talk about Democrats and the Republicans. And so that is what we're going to talk about today. Now back to the screen. Today we're going to talk about everything that I just told you. And so let's start with the American Revolution. You can watch this video for that. So let's go very briefly on the dates. So the American Revolution happened on April 19th of 1775. It started on April 19th of 1775. And it wasn't until almost 8 years after, in September 3rd of 1783, that the British surrendered finally. Okay, you guys win, you guys can have your independence, we didn't need you anyway. They're like, yay! Whee! Yay, 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 yay! And they started celebrating by shooting champagne everywhere. No, that I actually didn't really do that, but instead they did a lot of other things too. I mean, there was a lot of other things that could have happened too. I mean, King George II didn't really want to get defeated by the other George Washington, who would later become the leader of the United States of America, which back then was just 13 states. But who cares? They eventually, just a few years later, just 2 decades later, they got more land, like double the size of America. Yay! Of course, you're like, hey, Sean, you're a Korean. Why are you learning all this? Well, because I'm planning to move to Korea. Look at my YouTube description. I mean, the United States of America for college and stuff, but sure enough, I'm just planning for it. And you have to do the SAT and stuff, so that's why I'm also doing that too. Okay, let's skip all that boring stuff. That's what my other history videos are for, with the past me. I'm pretty sure it's been about a year since I've done that. Okay, close enough, 11 months ago. Also, I somehow only got 5 views. I did a part 2 version too, and that was just took 4 views. Anyways, back to the fun stuff. They created the Declaration of Independence, the one that starts with, "We the people." And I'm pretty sure that's kind of a lot to ask for someone. Eventually, they also started, after that, they started writing the Constitution. this, which literally just lays out the stuff of the branches of the government, how the executive, legislative, and the judicial branch will be laid out, which we'll be talking about in part 2 of this US politics series. So that's kind of nice. And this is just awesome. I mean, look at the Declaration of Independence, and you see a lot of things too. Wait a second. This is the Declaration of Independence, and this is the Constitution. Okay, just to make sure that you guys don't mix it up like how I just did, I will be labeling these right now. This is the Declaration of Independence, and this is the U.S. Constitution. I think I can write it. Constitution. Just remember that, alright? We the people, it's Constitution. Just in Congress and stuff on July 4th of 1776 is the Declaration of Independence. You can see it here, Declaration of Independence. Also, they actually signed on July 2nd. Eventually they just changed it to July 4th. And so yay! Then they wrote a series of 10 amendments or kind of fixations to the Constitution. Here, I'll talk about it. Now, what is the use of what we call the Bill of Rights? Well, the Bill of Rights has a lot of uses. Now, first of all, the Bill of Rights were just the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. And all these 10 bills have a lot of things that are possible here too. The Bill of Rights is just as awesome as I can think of, and the 10 amendments are just the first. There are way more. Eventually we added stuff like the 16th, the 17th, the 11th, the 15th Amendment. There are a lot of amendments. Google how many there are yourself, and you'd see results of a lot of them. And what I like to think about the 10 amendments is just like being I just think of them as a Captain America to each of the rights that each of the 10 amendments state. So basically, if one of the each of the 10 amendments were people, I would imagine each of them carrying a Captain America shield, because America, and this fits the description of the American flag, sort of. And then, less than 100 years after the founding of the United States of America, we get the Civil War. And this is where things kind of get more into the personal sides of everyone. It kind of reminds me of the Civil War movie, by the way, the Marvel one. And this one happened from April 12th of 1861. All the way to 4 years later, on April 9th of 1865. Just a few days later, President Abraham Lincoln was shot. Eventually, after more years of history and fighting against the Federalists and a lot of other political parties, we finally get the rise of the donkey and the elephant, which we will be discussing in our next episode of US Politics in a Nutshell. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode of US Politics. And next time we'll be talking more about the Democrats and the Republicans. So, see you then! Da 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 da